Hello, Soul Family Collective. So, I wanted to make this video um, because I started this channel, um, and I started it because I really want to help. That 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 was the main reason for doing this in the first place. Um, and so I've been kind of struggling with, all right, what do I want to put out there on my channel and my content? And after a few days of, soul searching and really looking, I realized, well, what I wanted to do here was help in any way I could. And I really feel like the best way I can help is by telling my story. Um, because that's what I know. I know my story. I know what I went through. And I think it might resonate with some people that see this video. And if anything, maybe um, could help put something in perspective for them or help them along their journey or just let anybody know out there that you're not alone. So, um, going into 2025, I was probably feeling about as lost as I've ever felt in my life. Um, I retired from the Air Force after 24 years in 2022. I have three wonderful children, all in their 20s now, and I was married for 20 years and got divorced in 2022. It's been a long couple of years, and going into 2025, I hadn't worked in 3 years. I'd been putting in resume and cover letter and application, one after the other, for months at a time, and just I'd get a few interviews maybe, and they just didn't go anywhere. Um, Mostly it was all getting ghosted. I didn't know what was a real job or, just employers out there fishing. I'm sure many of you are aware, it's a weird time the last couple of years. Especially, somebody a little later in life in their 40s. So, anyway, it was challenging. And I got a job like right at the beginning of the year um, as as an overnight security guard. Um, it wasn't a great gig, but it was something finally. And it didn't work out. I didn't get paid on time ever. And I got to the point after a few months that it was been like 6 weeks before I'd been paid. And as nice as it was to finally have a job, something to do, you know, I I I, I couldn't keep giving my energy to that. Um, so I quit that and continued looking for jobs and putting in applications and watching the news. I don't have to tell you guys how much of a year 2025 was. It's a tough year, um, especially for those of us out there who are very loving and kind. Um, that year was kind of the opposite of that. Um, so it was a tough year already, and going into the back end of the year, things only got worse out there. October, and I couldn't figure out what was going on with. I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't get anything going, and I would lose motivation because it's just nothing was working out, and then you know doom scrolling and death spiraling on the news cycle, and um I was at my end, and I even had to end up ending a relationship that I'd had for quite some time with somebody who I loved very much, but nothing was working. So I did the only thing I could think to do, and I kind of closed myself off in this place right here. Um, starting at the end of October, early November. And I saw a video that just turned a light bulb on about autism and ADHD, otherwise known as ADHD. Um, and was clued into I didn't even know what the difference between a neurodivergent and a neurotypical was at that time, right? Just a few months ago. And so realizing that really kind of kickstarted my journey because I resonated it with it so well because the way the video described it, I was like, yes. And then I started thinking and thinking back to so many times in my life where something was hard or maybe even it was easy. uh, and reframing it as, oh, wait, so I spent my entire life, almost 47 years. My birthday yesterday, I turned 47. And I just started discovering this stuff 2.5 months ago. It's tough. And I want anybody that's listening right now that maybe isn't sure, if you've gone through life feeling like no matter what room you're in, you're an outsider, um, and that a lot of things that happen to you in your life, you feel like you just have to stuff them away and hide them away and put on a face and just keep going because that right, everybody else is going, like that must be what everybody's doing. They're not not everybody. So if you're hearing this and that resonates at all, think about that. You don't have to go. You can if you want to go to the doctor, but you don't have to. Just think about that, right? Look some of that information up and see if that maybe fits maybe some unanswered questions in your head. It answered a lot for me. Um, but the question is, okay, well, right? So I find this out, and it's so hard to like tell people you've known all your life all of a sudden, hey, pretty sure I have autism and ADHD, because of the way I'm super excited and hyper focused one minute, and then another minute I feel rejected by something, or right, and I just hide away. And I looked at that and I realized, God, that was a hard way to live. And what do I do about that? Like now that I have the information, it's like, okay, it answers some questions, but now what? What does that mean? But how does it really matter? Other than being able to maybe understand things that are going on and how you're reacting to them and then have a different light to look at it. But it you really need to examine your entire life. And here's what I learned in looking at it through that perspective. And let me tell you this too. I joined Saul Smith's Neurospicy community after I found this out and got some information on that. And it was like the day I joined, reading some of the things and responding to some of the other people in there. I was like, like you found your people. Like, oh my God, I'm not alone. I there's other people out there that are going through the same troubles I am right now. A lot of them around the same age, and everybody was easy to talk to. Nobody was judgmental. Right. It's just I just want to say it's such a beautiful community. I want to call that out. It's great, and it also they gave me the courage after I isolated myself here, not exactly knowing why I needed to do that. Just there was something that was telling me like you need to just cut off and think, figure out what's going on with you, and with this new information, how do we sort this, you know? And there's not going to be a lot of people that are going to understand or believe you. And the last thing you need right now when you're in burnout and everything is hard is people that are giving you negative energy or telling you that you're just trying to come up with excuses for behaviors or anything. Because it's not what it is. And I met so many beautiful souls in the neurospicy community that I knew my experiences and how I experienced them, was able to look at them, and it was so nice to have a group of people that saw me and understood me and I could communicate with. And having that community there, I realize now, I didn't know then, but I realize now the difference was the energy exchange. A lot of my life I went through hiding from who I was because I was afraid I would be persecuted. And then finding these people that didn't do that. It was like I had them in my pocket. I could go on my phone anytime. And so if something got hard or I had a bad day or even a good day, I could go there and download it, download about it, vent about it, cheer about it, talk with other people and what did they go through. And it having that was just such a beautiful thing. And so if any of you are listening and you don't have a community of people that you connect with, talk to me anytime. Maybe I can help you find a community for you. But I think we all need that. We all need people that we connect with and we feel comfortable with. It can make all the difference. It made all the difference for me. It gave me the chance to do the brave thing and start doing that internal work with what I knew now. And I started with looking at different situations in my life and going, oh, I see why that happened. I see why I reacted that way, or somebody else reacted that way, or why I didn't take this opportunity, or why I charged too fast into this other one. There are lots of things, but it was like, I'm not going to do anything, just going like piece by piece with every little thing. And then it hit me like, well, go back to the fundamentals. Start where it began. And I don't know why I got that idea, but I'm glad I did, because what I did is I went back and I started realizing that, holy shit, I started masking myself at a very early age. I don't know the exact age, maybe around 5 or so. Because I didn't, I, I wanted to be like other kids, and I connected with a few, but even them, like, I had to hide that I had a sensitive soul and that I hated it when things were unfair or somebody got mistreated. And I feel so bad that I had to hide that part of me away because I was afraid of getting bullied, being misunderstood. And a lot of times I was misunderstood with adults. Some adults really got me. They would call me an old soul, and I didn't know what that meant, but it was, at least there was a few, but a lot of times it was so hard to connect with anyone. And it was because I was afraid to let anybody know. And I just kept building that mask and building behaviors that kept me out of, fully being present in situations because I needed a back door in case things got heavy and my rejection sensitivity dysphoria kicked in. I hate these terms. It's what these terms are is just ways that some of us who were different had to go through life hiding ourselves and what that meant and how hard it was because we would get rejected, but we couldn't let anybody see. We couldn't break down crying or run away. Like, if this resonates with you, like, I think you probably connect with what you did is you took it and you stuffed it inside and you kept a brave face. And when, as soon as you could, you went in a corner somewhere in your room or wherever a safe place was, tree fort, whatever, and just grieved the feeling and not understanding why you had this feeling, and nobody would understand, and it just was hurting you. And you do that for years and years and years. It takes a toll. And I realized that the burnout that I was having, the autistic burnout, at its worst stage yet, right? Like, I was at my end. I didn't know if I was going to make it out at that point. And what it was just, it was my entire body and nervous system just so tired of just stuffing everything in and trying to pretend like I was the strong one and I could help everybody, because all I wanted to do was help everybody before I ever helped myself. And I gave out my energy and I gave out my energy. And I didn't realize I was doing this because I didn't have the right information. I didn't have the right frame of mind. I didn't have the right way to change my perspective. And when I had the right information and I was able to change my perspective, and I was looking back at myself at a young age and realizing I masked to stay safe from bullies. I masked because I didn't connect with my brother or my dad or my mother or a friend, all so many things. And what I really realized as I was going through that was, God, all of these things, they're not me. That's not my energy. That's not my burden to carry. That's not my empty vessel of energy filled with pain or grief, regret. But I realized what I started doing, or what I was doing, and I started at a young age doing, was every time that rejection or whatever it was just hit me so hard and I just had to hold it in, I would hold it in and I would stuff it away and pretend like it wasn't there. And like that, okay, well, if I pretend it's not there, it's right. No harm, no foul, right? Wrong. Oh, God, so wrong. What you're doing is you're just taking these low vibrational feelings and holding them inside. And the worst thing I figured out was I was hiding away my inner child, and my inner child was too scared to come out. Look at all of this. Like, inner child doesn't want to come out when all of this pain just keeps, you're right, year after year. It's just adding. And so, as I isolated here and I had a crutch that I could lean on, so I felt like I wasn't all by myself. So nice to not feel like you're by yourself. I realized that these things weren't my burdens to carry, but I've been carrying them. And every time I felt that pain again, what I did is I shrank away and I went and I curled up on all of those empty vessels of energy I was holding on to. These negative feelings that were just taking space, they weren't giving back at all. But I found a way to make them a nice, comfy spot to go curl up with these feelings every time they came, because it was just a reminder, like, I'm just going to snuggle here and add to it, because see, this is just what happens to me. This is, I get rejected, and nothing's going to change, and I just need to learn to accept it and snuggle up with it. And I do that for a couple of days and just be out of it, and then slowly come back to, and oh my God, I gotta get on with my life again. Oh, what was I doing? And then you go for a little while, and then the next thing hits. And oh my God, 2025 was a hit after hit after hit. And I'm sure it was for a lot of you too. I want you to know, like, I feel for you. Truly and genuinely, from my authentic self. I hate that anybody had to go through it. But as I started to realize that snuggling up with that stuff wasn't getting me anywhere, it wasn't mine. When I started to see that I did these things because the world just wasn't made for somebody like me to grow up in. It's so sad. We need a world that kids can grow up in and not have to hide themselves. But when I realized that, I started to realize that I didn't need to carry this stuff anymore. And I started seeing it and looking at it and going like, this isn't mine. I don't need to carry around this fear of a bully anymore. I'm a grown up now. I can defend myself. This is stupid. Let's what's the lesson here? What's the perspective to look at this? And when I started looking at all of it from a different angle, going, boy, I've been holding on to this stuff like it's mine, like it's my fault. It's my shame. And I was able to start going like, that's not true. And I decided, I decided, and I truly believe anybody listening to this video can do the same thing I did. I'm not special. I'm uniquely me. That's it. But I'm not different than anybody else. I'm experiencing the human condition just like all of us. So I know you can do it. If you're out there and you're wondering like, oh, there's just this thing and I got to get rid of it, like, I believe in you. You can do it. I did it and I'm not special. I'm just some dude from Denver. But I started getting rid of it, and as I did that, I realized there was still one left. There's still some more left. I'm still discovering some little things, but I got a big chunk of stuff decided, and it felt good. But there was one more. There was something, and it was I was so hard to identify. And I know it was ancient, like, been in me for a long time. And it was this shame that I carried because I I felt like I never connected with my family, with my dad, with my brother, with my mom, with aunts, uncles, my cousins, and all of them are great people. I can't I can't say one thing about my family really causing me trauma. I caused it on myself. But I don't, I know that not everybody has that. And I don't want to, I don't want to harp on that. What I want to say is that I had the shame that these people who love me very much, and I love them, but I never felt like I fully connected. And then I remembered, like, well, that's because I had ADHD and autism, and I saw things differently in the world. I remember a time my dad wanted me to curl up a hose. And he was showing me, here, Bob, come over here, do this, and do it like this. And he hands it to me, and I'm like, I start trying to do it like him, and I'm like, my brain just didn't function in the same way. I could do it just fine my own way. But I was afraid of letting him down, that I couldn't do it his way, or so many things. But I started realizing that it's not my fault. It's just who I am. And I didn't know it was okay. I didn't know it was okay to be me. I thought it was weird. And so I carried the shame. And my brother passed away back in 2013, and my dad in 2021. And so I had this, and I identified it, and I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to get rid of this shame because they're gone. And now I can't sit down and have a conversation with them and talk about it and work things out. And so I thought I was going to have to carry it forever, until I realized I can forgive myself. And I can forgive them even if they're not here in the physical right now. And I had a moment where I thought of that while I was in the shower. It's my thinking place. um, and I remember, like, clear as day in my head, getting out and drying myself off and thinking about that. And I just said, you know what? It's okay. I forgive myself because it wasn't my fault. I didn't know. I didn't know better. I always have tried to do the best I can with the knowledge that I have on hand and the skills I have available. And so I didn't need to carry that shame. And then I also realized I could tell them, you know, I forgive you. It wasn't your fault either. And had we known, maybe we could have had a talk about it. But I forgive you. And I fucking tell you what, shit. I felt 20 pounds lift out of my soul. Like, from right here. I remember the feeling. I remember crying in my bathroom because it felt like just this something lifted and just lifted right out of me, almost like it was going to carry me off the ground. Was the feeling. Like it was a 20-pound balloon carrying me away. And I'll tell you this, from the moment that happened to me, I gained this agency of myself. And I went in and I made best fucking friends with my inner child. Who, I don't know how to explain this, but it's a girl. My masculine feminine balance is, it's skewed more feminine. And I've heard that could be something common within ADHD. I don't know. I'm learning all this stuff. But what I can tell you is that going in and making that peace with myself and then finding this like pocket of shame I just didn't know, and I just worked on it. So I just said I just wanted to figure it out so bad, and I did. I figured it out. Holy shit. And it's a thing a lot of us carry, and it can be hard. And maybe some of us maybe we need to talk to an energy healer. Seriously. And you can talk to me. Hit me up in the comments. If you really want to talk about something, I'll share my WhatsApp with you. We could talk about it. I just want to help people. That's all. And I want to help them do what I did because, I'm crying right now, but I want everybody to know, like, these are the healing kind of tears, the feel good tears, where they're tears that come from growth and expanding capacity. And that is so fucking important, guys. If you're carrying around this empty, negative energy, you're lowering your vibration, you're keeping yourself down, and you're letting shit live rent free inside of you that could be better taken up with better things in your life. And you can't even try to go for the better things until you make the room. You can't go get it and then go, oh, okay, wait, hold on. I'll make some room and put it in. Oh, just hold on to this for, no, it's not the way it works. You have to do the work. You have to go in and you have to clear the space to make room for the change, for the better. And I'll tell you this, I felt so peaceful and just joyful almost all of the time after I did that, because I feel lighter. I feel connected to who I am. I don't feel like I have to apologize for who I am anymore either, because if you don't like me, then that's okay. Really. And I don't even hate you for it or have any ill intentions towards you for it. Just okay, then a nice day and go find the people that you do resonate with. And I wish you the best day. And I'm going to go over here where I know I have some people. And I'm going to go find some more. But I don't have to take anybody's baggage on anymore. And now I know how to share my energy the right way. Now I know how to block the bad energy coming in, not give the energy to the people that I know aren't going to use it correctly. And also share it with the people I know will. Because when you share your energy back and forth, when you give energy to somebody and you get back, right? There's a friction in there, a good friction that increases it more than just the sum of its parts. And I'm still learning a lot of this stuff, and I hope to, you know, share more videos or whatever, however I can help anybody. But that's what this channel I created was intended to do. Help people, and I don't know how to help people other than share my experience, because I don't know your experience. I'd love to know it. I love to talk to people, and I'm an oversharer. So if you are too, let's overshare together. Why not? So I'm going to sign off for here. And I hope this helped some people. And if it did, pass it on to other people you know. All right. Soul family, I love you guys. It's all love.